There are people out there that are just getting by doing just enough to not be fired. They're not wanting to quit their job. They're not wanting to do anything more to actually to advance their position. They're just doing the bare minimum to get by. And a lot of this is coming because of the pandemic, and people had to leave their offices, go to work from home, and they lost that fire, that motivation. And then now all of a sudden it's kind of complacency sitting in, and people are just, again, waking up, getting through their day, and they've quietly quit. Again, quitting would be they no longer work there. Quietly quitting means they're still there. They're still getting paid. They're on the payroll, but they just haven't informed their boss or their employers that they are kind of like checked out. I actually think, Brendan, that's what's going on in the real estate industry for so many people. I think people are saying, no, I'm still working. Yes, but are you working with that fire, with that desire, with that motivation? Well, no, kind of lost that. Yeah. And that's affecting everything else. So before we go on to the next one here, under quietly quitting, I kind of wrote some notes here. Areas where people have quietly quitted, to give you an example, in my opinion, is their attitude. The attitude is kind of like, gosh, I don't know if I really need to go in today. There's nothing really going on. Mm-hmm. It's an attitude. That's kind of like versus, I'm going to go make something happen. That quietly quitting is like, there's not really much going on. Not quietly quitting, being fully engaged is, I'm good. I'm getting in and I'm going to make something happen. And then, of course, you got the approach, quietly quitting in the area of approach, where people they know they need to use this certain script or this presentation, but what they're doing is they're just showing up, maybe not preparing as much, and they're just kind of winging it. They're not following a proven or a consistent presentation right now. They used to. And they knew they had to say this and this and this to get business before. But now, because they kind of have like a negative attitude or a defeated attitude, people are going in there and they're just kind of winging it from an approach. It's not an approach by design. And then the third area where they're quietly quitting, in my opinion, Brendan, is where it comes to the expectations. They're like, well, they're not really going to buy anyways because the interest rates are so high. So that's kind of what I'm seeing as a big thing. That's mental, right, Brendan? I mean, sure. It's mental, but that's causing failure, contributing to failure, or it's going to lead to failure. Yeah,
great point. And I think that if you go back probably 9 or 10 months ago, we had a conversation. I don't remember if it was on Level Up or not, but I remember talking about, I actually felt 10 months ago that there was a lot of the agents that were in the same position. We weren't hearing that term, quietly quitting. But because the market was so challenging, being able to get buyers and deals, and there were new agents in the business, it was tougher to get listings. Then I feel like a lot of people were kind of feeling like, oh man, is this going to work? But they didn't want to say anything because the market was so hot. You'd look silly going, I'm failing in this really, really strong real estate market. Well, now, how much easier is it going to be for people to say, well, nothing's going on right now anyway, so I'm taking the easy. I'm not really quitting. It's just everybody's having challenges. There's a lot of risk for agents right now. So I'm glad you bring this up so people can, if you're seeing that in your own business, be aware of it. It's a real thing.